are at the Capitol with Representative Danny Morgan. Danny, as always, thanks for taking your time, man.
It's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
It has been a busy week at the Capitol, but there's been some fun things going on outside the Capitol that we're going to talk about. Last week, of course, we learned a little bit about a tax incentive that you were in favor of to help some of the kids. Briefly talk about that, but then tell us about this week.
The tax credit that did not get passed in the Oklahoma House last week would have said that the premiums that these young people receive at both their county fairs and particularly at the Oklahoma Youth Expo, which was held this week that we'll talk about in just a minute, that those monies that those kids received for their quality of animal that they've produced would be tax exempt, and they wouldn't have to pay any kind of tax against the earnings on that, and that we would consider those to be like scholarship dollars that those students could use to further their education or to further their project. If they want to go into a breed program or something with their animals, that would assist them. I mean, these are kids that do the right thing.
And I'll tell you, I didn't quite understand totally how that might work, and we all pay taxes, and I made some jokes about it, but we were able to visit, just like we all can with our representative. We were able to visit outside of the interview, and you taught me a little bit about the process that these kids go through. It's really a year-long neat thing, almost like it was a sport in high school, but just a lot of cool things. Talk a little bit about that Youth Expo and all that goes into it.
Well, a lot of these young people will start in the fall when they get their animal, whether it's a steer or a goat or a pig or lamb. Those are the most of what you see shown in the Oklahoma. You'll start to see that at both the county level, at the county fairs, where these young people start to work these animals. And then you see it again in the spring, sometimes late February, early March. You'll see these kids at their local county shows where they actually start to see the rewards of their efforts by way of these premium sales if their animal's good enough to get into that side of the marketplace. A lot of the newspapers and television will do stories on these kids. And this week was what we call the state show, which meant those kids came out of their counties and those students brought their animals to the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds Arena. And we always think of that as being the big house where
right.
A lot of our local teams always compete for state basketball championships. But it's also a great opportunity for these kids to get their animals in the big ring there in Oklahoma City and can receive some sizable awards for the work that they've done. And then on Wednesday evening of the Oklahoma Youth Expo week, we have what's called the Celebrity Show. Yeah. And that is an opportunity for legislators to be paired up with a student from their district who gets the opportunity to try to show that animal in that show arena in a show environment where they judge, and even the legislators receive showmanship awards. I've always felt sometimes they were a little slanted with the judging that's gone on because I've never won the awards, you understand. But it's a great opportunity for our legislators to interact not only with the parents, but particularly with those students and have one-on-one time with that student to learn about their animal and let that student explain to them how they acquired the animal, how the animals progress through this growth process. And so I think it's just a great opportunity for both individuals, both the students and the legislators.
Well, and after talking about it, it seemed like a tax incentive may be a good thing for these kids because really through the process we're training them hard work and how to endure through hard times, even with their animal, to come out with a product that could be a winner. Talk a little bit about that, the work that goes in that these kids have to do with these animals.
Well, they'll spend hours with these animals, and they'll get them when they're very young, and so they have to make sure that they're medicated properly, that they have the right feed mix to make sure that they grow at the right times, and that they put the right weight on at the given times when the shows are around. And they really have to be very educated about not only the breed, but the animal in general. They do that through their 4-H and through the FFA programs in our local community schools, and it is such a great opportunity. That's where that first entrepreneurial spirit comes from. Yeah. And I mean, you're on your own, and if you've done well and your animal performs well, then you make the premium sale. You can still receive some very sizable add-ons and awards that can be in the 5-digit figure for some of these larger animals. And that's why we wanted to try to say to those students, you've done the right things, you've worked hard, you shouldn't pay tax on those earnings that you receive because you've done the right things, and we wanted you to take that money and use it as a scholarship for college education or to maybe to return it back into your program.
Yeah, and no better way to to train young men and women on growing up with hard work and the rewards of your hard work to help all of us in Oklahoma with a better economy.
Well, I have always maintained that those young people that wear those blue jackets for the FFA or those green jackets for the 4-H, you won't probably find very many of those in our penal institutions. I mean, they're just taught such great lessons of not only leadership but responsibility, and there's going to be what I call life lessons. I mean, we have a young person in our district that I'm aware of who lost their animal. It died, and they'd done all this work on it. It had gotten sick. Another one had gotten seriously injured. It lost its eye right before a show, and I mean, those are things that we all have to live with, and those kids sometimes learn at a very early age that those are the chances you take when you put yourself out in this arena. But it's just such a wonderful program that these young people get to participate in.
Yeah, and this is just another way in which new ideas can impact all of us, and what a neat way that the state could help these young kids to grow up to be viable and great citizens of this good state.
I couldn't have said it any better. It really is a great opportunity for both these legislators and the students to get together and speak on a very informal basis.
And it's not too late for any of us to be involved. It's never too late. Get on the horn. Let your representative and senators know about how you feel about these tax incentives for such great Oklahoma kids. Maybe we can get it back through the process next year. Representative Danny Morgan, thank you as always.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.